Renata Sousa had been an usher at Harwell University scholarship events 3 times before, and she knew the rhythm of them, the rustle of programs, the contestants in their good clothes arriving with instrument cases and manila envelopes, the low professional hum of people who had prepared for something important. She knew where to stand, which doors to prop, when to smile and wave someone through. She knew her job was to be helpful and to stay out of the way. She was standing at the East Corridor entrance to Harwell Recital Hall when the girl arrived. The girl was 16, maybe 17, tall, in a white blouse pressed to a sharp edge, a folder of sheet music tucked under one arm and a printed confirmation letter held in both hands. She walked the way people walk when they have done the thing they were supposed to do and they know it. No hurry, no performance, just the steady approach of someone who belongs somewhere and is arriving. Renata would remember that walk later. She would think about it on the bus home and again in her room at 3 in the morning, and she would be grateful she had not looked away when it mattered. The girl's name was Camille Osai. She was a junior at Eastfield Preparatory Academy, a piano finalist in the Harwell University Distinguished Scholars Audition, one of 8 students selected from across the state to perform before a panel and compete for a full 4-year scholarship. The confirmation letter she carried named her, named the date, named the time, named the stage. It had the university seal on it. It had a confirmation number. Diane Prout was stationed at the stage entrance table where the finalists checked in. She was the scholarship program coordinator, a title that gave her the clipboard and the lanyard and the authority to wave people through or send them elsewhere. She was efficient in the way that people are efficient when they have decided, before a situation begins, how it will go. She looked up when Camille reached the table. Something in her face settled. "Name," she said. "Camille Osai." Camille set the confirmation letter on the table. Prout looked at the clipboard. She made a small sound, not quite a word. "I don't see a processed entry for you." "It's right there." Camille pointed to the letter. "Confirmation number HC2847. I received it 6 weeks ago." Prout did not pick up the letter. "The system we use for processing sometimes has discrepancies with outside confirmations. There may have been an issue with your file." "What issue?" "I'd need to look into that." Prout capped her pen. "What I'd like you to do is step down to the side room, the student services office, just around the corner, and someone will help you get it sorted out." Renata was 4 feet away. She had heard all of it. She was looking at the other side of the table, where 2 other finalists, both white, both with the same manila envelope look about them, had been checked in the time it took to say Camille's name. One of them had fumbled with his paperwork. Prout had smiled and waited. Camille did not move toward the side room. "Which step in my application was incomplete?" she asked. Her voice was level. There was no tremor in it, no rise. It was the voice of a person asking a question they have every right to ask. Prout's pen moved. "As I said, I'd need to look into the system. The audition begins in 22 minutes. If there's a missing step, I'd like to know what it is so it can be corrected. The side room is equipped too. I have a confirmation letter with the university seal and a confirmation number." Camille's hand rested on the paper, still flat on the table. She did not raise her voice. "Is my name on your list?" Prout looked at the clipboard for a beat longer than she needed to. "The list I have reflects processed entries. I'm not able to confirm." "May I see the list?" The question landed in the air between them. Prout straightened. "That's not something I can share with." Renata was moving before she had decided to move. She stepped forward and the words came out of her in a voice that surprised her with its evenness. "Excuse me, I'm a volunteer with today's event. Do you have a master registration document? I can help cross-check." Prout looked at her. It was not a warm look. "This is a coordinator matter." "I understand." Renata held her ground. She had a tablet under her arm, the event checklist the volunteer coordinator had given her that morning. She glanced at it. At the bottom of the second page, under stage finalists confirmed, There were 8 names in alphabetical order. The 5th name was Osai, Camille M. "She's on the master list," Renata said. She turned the tablet so Camille could see it. Then she turned it toward Prout. "5th entry, Os, Camille MHC 2847. The color in Prout's face did not change exactly, but something behind it did. The master volunteer list is a working document. It doesn't override the coordinator system. Then the coordinator system and the master list are saying different things, Renata said. She did not say it loudly. She did not need to. That seems like something the program director should know about before the audition starts. Prout set down her clipboard. "I'll remind you that volunteers are here in a support capacity." "I know what I'm here to do." Renata looked at Camille. "Would you like to wait here while I find the program director?" Camille nodded once. She stepped to the side of the table, not away from it, not toward the side room. She stood in the corridor, her confirmation letter in hand, her sheet music under her arm, and she waited with the particular patience of someone who has already won the argument and knows the other person has not realized it yet. Renata was 2 steps away when the door at the far end of the corridor opened. The man who walked in was perhaps 50, in a dark suit and a calm that came from somewhere deep. He was looking at his phone as he entered, and then he looked up and he saw his daughter standing in the corridor with her confirmation letter, and he went still for one moment in the way that parents go still when they understand something has happened. Dr. Noel Osai was the board chair of Harwell University. He had held the position for 4 years. He had been planning to sit in the audience today and watch his daughter play, and to cheer for her as if he were an ordinary parent and not the person who, among other things, had signed the charter for the scholarship program she was competing in. He crossed the corridor. He did not rush. He stopped beside Camille and looked at Prout with the same quietness his daughter had, and he said, "What seems to be the difficulty?" Prout looked at him the way people look at someone they do not yet recognize but are beginning to think they should. "And you are?" "Noel Osai, Camille's father," he paused, "and the chair of this university's board of trustees." The corridor got very quiet. He did not say it as a threat. He did not lean forward or raise his voice or let any edge into the words. He said it the way you state a fact because it was one, and because facts in the end are the thing. Prout opened her mouth. She closed it. "She has a confirmation number," Dr. Osai said. "It matches the master list. She is a finalist in the program. She would like to take the stage." He looked at the time on his phone. "The audition begins in 17 minutes. Is there something that needs to be resolved before then?" What happened next happened quickly and without ceremony. The VP of Academic Affairs, Dr. Marcus Hale, arrived within 4 minutes. Someone had found him in the faculty lounge, and he read the situation in approximately the time it took him to look from Prout to the clipboard to the master list to Dr. Osai. He spoke to Prout in a low, measured voice that Renata could not entirely hear but did not need to. Prout unclipped her lanyard. She left the corridor. Dr. Hale turned to Camille. "Ms. Osai, I apologize for this. Please come with me. I'll walk you to the green room." Camille picked up her folder. She looked at Renata. "Thank you," she said. 2 words without decoration. They landed like something solid. Renata managed to say, "Good luck," and meant it as much as she had ever meant anything. She went back to her post by the east corridor door. She could hear, from down the hall, the murmur of the audition hall filling, programs shuffling, seats finding their people, the quiet expectation of an audience before music begins. The program started 7 minutes later. Camille was the 5th performer. Renata could not see the stage from where she stood, but she could hear. The first notes came through the door with the clarity of something that has been practiced until it is no longer practice, until it is simply the thing itself, whole and ready. A Chopin ballade, the first one in G minor, and the way Camille played it was the way she had stood in the corridor. No performance, no apology, no uncertainty. just the steady arrival of someone who had prepared and who belonged and who knew it. Renata stood by the door and listened, and the hall was very still. 3 weeks after the audition, the Harwell University Board of Trustees authorized a formal audit of the Distinguished Scholars Program's intake records for the past 5 years. It was initiated at the request of the board chair. The audit would examine whether documented errors in the coordinator system had followed any pattern. Dr. Hale oversaw the process. The program's intake procedures were suspended pending its findings, and a new verification protocol, cross-checked against the master list and confirmed by a second administrator before any finalist was redirected, was put in place for the next cycle. Camille Osei won the scholarship. The panel's decision was unanimous. Renata heard about it from a notice on the music department board. She stood in front of it for a moment, reading Camille's name in the printed list of awardees, and thought about a girl in a white blouse walking down a corridor like she knew exactly where she was going. She always had. The only question, that afternoon, had been whether anyone else would be willing to see it.